Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So here's another deck profile for you guys today. This time is on Blue Eyes, which actually came really close with Layered Darkness on the last poll. The two were actually just neck and neck at each other, but ultimately Blue Eyes won. But I do promise you guys I will bring out an updated Layered Darkness deck profile simply because, again, the votes were just so close between the two. And yeah, I figure I'll give them some love, as well as Madolchis too. Why not? And I'll just save Heroes for another time. But anyway, figured I'd show you guys what I got this time around, and yeah, let's get started. Oops, I almost dropped something here. All right, so main deck is 40 cards. So for this build, I decided to go back to the fusion variation that I had a while back, back when Guard Dragon LP was legal. But I found some combos that actually do help facilitate this regardless. So anyway, starting off with 3 copies of Blue Eyes White Dragon. This is pretty standard. 2 copies of Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon. You don't really run to see this at 3 because it can be a brick, especially if you don't have a Blue Eyes White Dragon in hand, which a majority of the time you should, but again, there are times like you might not have it, so you might have to reconsider like how do you want to get, how do you want to start off your combos basically. 1 Dragon Spirit of White for, backward removal because it banishes, and banishment usually is one of the best ways to get rid of spells and traps right now, especially for like example Eldritch. If you pop their cards, they're just going to recycle themselves, but if you banish them, they're gone for good, so yeah. And of course, 1 copy of Blue Eyes Abyss Dragon. Still like to run this because it helps me search out polymerization, and the fact that it also searches out a level 8 dragon at the end phase, as long as you have a Blue Eyes White Dragon on field or in grave. So yeah, Blue Eyes Abyss is still pretty good. Moving on, 3 copies of Sage with Eyes of Blue. Definitely one of the best starters of the deck, simply because it gives you access to your tuner monsters, and also the fact that he has a really good discarding effect. So you target an effect monster, sends it to the grave, and you can special summon a Blue Eyes directly from your deck. 3 Whitestone of Ancients, definitely an amazing card. I can't really stress that enough. I mean, it gives you a Blue Eyes at the end phase, plus you can recycle your Blue Eyes cards too. And of course, 1 Whitestone of Legend. This card is super broken, especially if you can abuse it correctly. Yeah, you can generally get a lot of hand advantage pretty much at the end of the turn. So yeah, Whitestone of Legend, this card is super good, and the fact that its search effect is mandatory means like you can actually kind of abuse it. So yeah. And just to go ahead and show them off now, the other big boss monsters I have are 1 copy of Chaos Dragon Levianeer and 1 copy of Chaos Emperor Dragon of Armageddon. Sometimes he comes out, but most of the time I use his recursive ability where you pay 1,000 and get back one of your monsters. So yeah, but overall it's still an amazing card. And Chaos Dragon Levianeer, most of the time you're going to banish 3 lights just to get a free special summon. And again, it's just good for rank 8 purposes, but if you can manage to get 3 darks out there, you should be able to resolve its second effect, where you can rip a card out of your opponent's hand. But again, you're mostly just going to use the banish all 3 lights, or a light and a dark at least. All right, so that's it for those. And for hand traps, I had to cut down my hand trap lineup because, just so I can make room for some cards. Still running 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Actually, last time I was running this at 2, but decided to bump it up to 3. And the 1 Effect Veiler, because it's searchable. Sage with Eyes of Blue can search this out, so that's pretty nice. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Alright, so now we're moving on to spells already. Starting off with 3 copies of Melody of the Awakening Dragon. This searches out your Blue Eyes and your alternatives. Chaos Dragon Levianeer, or even Chaos Emperor, whatever you want. 3 trade-ins, since you're running a bunch of level 8s. You can discard them to draw 2 cards. 3 Return of the Dragon Lords. Once again, you're running a bunch of level 8 dragon monsters, so this is free revival. I decided to cut down World Legacy Guard Dragon to 2 simply because, again, Guard Dragon LP is banned and I'm not running Darkness Metal anymore, so this card is still really good. You just mostly use it just to get your stones back to, further extend your combos. But again, Piste still comes out every now and then, so just bear that in mind. But you're not going to overly rely on it, so yeah. 2 copies of Dragon's Mirror, because again, I'm going back to the fusion variation of this deck. And the fact that, you can get out Blue Eyes Alternative Ultimate Dragon super effectively, yeah, it's pretty nuts. 1 Polymerization, because it is searchable. Yeah, I'm running 1 for 1. And of course, got to run 1 copy of Dragon Shrine, which you could run this at 2 if you wanted to. I decided to just go 1 because it is a hard once per turn. And 1 Foolish Burial. And last but not least for the spells, 1 copy of Monster Reborn. Alright, and now for trap cards, I'm actually only running 2 traps in this deck. I am running 1 copy of Skill Drain, just because, Blue Eyes by itself is pretty good. The fact that it's a normal monster, so cards like Widow Anchor can't touch it. And also the fact that, skill drain just like can slow down so many decks this format. It's pretty nuts. And of course, the newest edition, one copy of True Light. True Light is actually a really good card. It's basically I believe it's not Dark Illusion, Eternal Soul. It's Eternal Soul for Blue Eyes. But anyway, yeah, this card actually has some pretty nice interaction because again, you're mostly just going to use it for the spell, for the ability to special summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon from your hand or grave. But also the fact that if it's destroyed, much like Eternal Soul, all your monsters just get blown up. But if they're all dragon monsters, you can use a card like Return of the Dragon Lords to protect them anyway. So yeah, and plus it also protects your Blue Eyes White Dragon from being targeted as long as it's in your monster zone, which generally it's supposed to be. But yeah, True Light is actually a pretty good card. I might consider running more of these, but yeah, True Light at 1 should be just fine because again, you can kind of draw into it anyway. And yeah, it's not too bad. All right, so now moving on to the extra deck. For the fusions, I'm running 1 Blue Eyes Alternative Ultimate Dragon. If you use Alternative White Dragon as a fusion material, you can pop 3 cards. So of course it can't attack, but that's still pretty good because it can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects. 1 Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate for help, just to help you with the OTK. Twin Burst because it can't be destroyed in battle, plus it can attack twice on monsters. And if it fails to destroy a monster in battle, you get to banish it. So yeah. For Synchros, 1 Spirit Dragon and 1 Azure Eyes. Everyone already knows what these do. For Xyz monsters, I'm still running 1 copy of Photon Lord simply because it's a monster negation, so it helps you play around Nibiru. 1 Dingirsu because it's basically just free removal that doesn't target and it does not destroy. 1 Harbinger just because, you know, spell negation. And just to help with the enable and OTK strategy, Dragoobleon and Numeron Dragon. And yeah, that's it. And of course, moving on to the Link monsters. Still running 1 Halki Firebrax, you know, just 1. Link Revo has great synergy with the stones. Hieratic Seal. 1 Guard Dragon Pisty. And of course, we can't forget Sarja. Sarja is still super easy to make with this deck, even though LP is banned, so don't worry. It comes up when it does. And then for the side deck, it's pretty self-explanatory. 3 Lancia. 3 Drone Lockbird to deal with, you know, the Drytron matchup. 3 Dark Ruler No More. If I had a cross-out designator, I would run it, but I don't. So, I'm still going to run Twin Twisters, Harpy's Feather Duster, and again, just to deal with other macro-heavy strategies, 3 copies of Royal Decree. So, yeah, I don't like to deal with traps, and this is a good way to deal with that. So, anyway, that's pretty much it. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and I will catch you guys again next time.